All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, July 20th. I was about to hit the mic inside the live trading room. I accidentally took the screen off. That's why there was a small lapse in time there to begin. But great to see everybody. Norman, Alphonse, Ed, Leda, Skip, Frank, Martha, Lewis, all of our students inside Cyber Group. Welcome on back. And for all of us on Facebook Live and YouTube social media, same thing. So, for right now, I will say markets are up. Markets are at the highs of the day. It's a lot easier of a day when the markets are up, because if you're trading out of your IRA account, if you're in a cash account, you can't short the market on the way down. So it's a little less opportunistic in that regard. You have to wait for bounces, maybe do a put if the markets are dropping off. Don't need to worry about that today. SPY ended up popping shortly after the market opened up, and things have been smooth sailing across the indices since. But on top of that, we ended up having a pretty good day today. I mean, space right now, perhaps you could say this is a beneficiary of the markets being at the highs, but this is also in relation to Bezos and Blue Origin. When they took off at 9 a.m. Eastern time, we saw Amazon push up slightly. We saw space really drop off and much further after the market opened up. So, this one wasn't on the CTU morning watch list, but we've been following this for the last week and a half at least. So we called this one out pretty soon after the open, off the breakdown below support at first off of 32, and then ended up dropping off pretty swiftly after. It hit a low of the day, which was actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think the low of the day today. Quick little free tip for all of us in social media, and especially if you're in the live trading room. If you're a student, we'll be talking about this topic probably next month in August set of classes. But the opening bell print from yesterday morning on this trade, the open price shows 29.45, but I even want to prove my point here. I want to just show this. It's really cool. I'm going to bring up Bookmap here, right? And I'm going to bring up Bookmap to show that we ended up seeing yesterday morning. And, the open price was set at 29.45 for my TradeStation daily chart. Well, the opening bell print yesterday this is on Space, there was a 505,000 share print. It was filled at 29.55. It broke it by a damn penny and moved right back up. It essentially used that print line as the low of the day today. So for what it's worth right now, Space is moving right back on up. I'll come back to this at the end, and odds are, between you and I'll probably slip this on our list at the end of it all. But even outside of the space trade, we did really well across the morning. As usual, most of them are from the top of the gainers list. So we will go from top to bottom. Our bigger success was on this NURO trade. This thing's still really active going into this time of the day, heading into the afternoon, that is. So, I'll put this on our list to begin. This will be on the main list in hopes of this making a higher low from this very point and perhaps pushing back up to test 10 again. But, really, from the morning, it ended up showing activity. This was by the time Fausto was doing the morning meeting. And if I'm not mistaken, please let me know if you know more than I do here. I'm not going to dig into Benzinga Pro right now, but I think this had to do with either phase 2 or phase 3 news, or maybe even FDA approval to a prescription drug that treats anemia. I could be wrong on that, but either way, needless to be said, this stock ended up making a really strong push. It was actually right away after the market opened up, ended up making this choppier trend up towards 475 and, really eventually $5 later into the morning. So once this ended up really beginning to break above the resistance off of 5, and it really wasn't much fight really right over here, when it re-broke resistance, ended up making this really sharp pop and continued to push up. We don't expect to see a stock like NURO start the day at $4 or $5 and run all the way up towards a HOD of 1120. We do not expect that. I had one of our students, Alan, from earlier into the morning and into the afternoon with me in coaching. We were watching this push up, but he was able to take a few trades himself, in and out, using our strategy in the sense of waiting for a stock to break through a big level as it's pushing up. That doesn't always equate to a great trade right away. So, heading into the later parts of the morning, the early parts of the afternoon, it's a catch-22 because this became more volatile over time. But you want to be patient with your setup, but then quick with your execution after. Point being, there were a couple of points on this run where it ended up making these false breakouts. It ended up popping and dropping from 6 at first. Well, when it re-broke over 6 on the next attempt, right on up. Same thing happened here roughly at 7. Ended up popping and dropping 7. Ended up making the second move back up. Held it really well as support. Made the next run up. So be patient with your setup. Focus on that same strategy that we talk about here in Traders Talk and otherwise in our classes every month. But based on the time of the day, based on the range in which this stock had made from the morning, you want to be patient, wait for that first break, and then if it offers a second break, that's the better opportunity. So unfortunately, this thing ended up falling off when it ended up making the first break over 11. It popped above 11 right here, snapped right back down. That was the first test, first break of that level. It ended up getting halted on the way down from there, actually. So that's normally where I would say it's a wrap. That's game over. But as you could see, and it just happened as I was, analyzing this trade in front of you, this stock actually right now is currently halted. Right now, this stock just popped up so much, so fast in the last minute bar alone that they ended up freezing trading. So we'll come back to this. It's already on our, main list, definitely, and hopefully this will make a much prettier push up into the afternoon. Looked like a head and shoulders here, to be honest, right here at the time. But hey, heading into the afternoon, bounced off at 8, pushed up over $1.50 from there, and again, halted right now. So definitely on our list. We'll come back to this, though, just to see where it's at from this halt. NBRO, unfortunately, this one's not going to be as pretty of a move for this time of the day. You'd think that there's a chance it could break back above 450, hold that as support, move back up. Yeah, I hope that too. But it doesn't always mean it's going to happen, right? We ended up seeing this stock make a very shaky move after the market opened up. Ended up popping into the open, but ended up shaking around for quite a while before it ended up, finding a base. Low of the day was at 378, but I ended up drawing a line a little bit higher. It's right off of 385, 388. We did talk about that inside our live workshop Traders Talk, which we conducted in our trading room earlier. For any one of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I refer you to join us inside our trading room just to get access to those workshops. There's a link on the banner below of the stream banner that you could see. But otherwise, though, hey, it ended up making a choppier move from that point, made this kind of like freak pop where it broke above resistance and suddenly ran just over $1. And then, unfortunately, to see the volume die off so fast, we know what's coming next. When the volume dies off, so does the stock. So unfortunately right now, even though it's pushing back up a little bit, I'm not as keen to put this NRBO on our watch list for right now. Maybe I'll come back to it at the end. All right. From Franny, why did you say 964 was not a good entry? I think that they are asking about the NURO trade, NURO. Well, right now it's currently halted. Right at first, I wouldn't be looking to trade this stock right out the gate. It just got halted, and we talk more about that inside our Phase 2 course. For any, I would make sure that you just talk to your education advisor about that. They'll give you more info about our classes. But that's where we talk about halts and what happens when a stock's up 196% or 198% right now. I hope that this keeps going, but when it reopens, you're going to see a lot of shakes and a lot of quick moves happening. So be patient with the setup, mark out your levels right now, and if the trade comes to you in the level that you're looking at, then you try and capitalize on it. We'll skip ahead though for the meantime. The ENDP trade, Endo Pharmaceuticals. We've traded the stock on and off over the years. I don't know what the news is out. What news is out on this stock? Wasn't much pre-market activity here to begin things, but ended up making this really nice run after the open from 350 up towards basically 460. Right. So ended up pulling back. Unfortunately, I would have wanted to see this much closer to its highs right now. I would have easily have put it on our list if that was the case. It is shortable, and it has dropped off a little bit. It could have been a short, I guess, but we'll see. Maybe I'll come back to this at the end also. Put a few stocks on the side, come back to them at the end, kind of cherry pick. SNMP, this thing looks really choppy, up and down, but obviously, pushing up over time here, and it's up over 23%. So it seems like a volatile stock for us to consider. It's just kind of indecisive with this true pop and breakout here. Like I'd said, moving up across the day, but where you would expect this to re-break resistance at 150, you would have wanted to have seen a much bigger pop and move, right out the gate. We haven't had it. Again, it's like sideless material. We're kind of in the dog days of summer. So unless if there's something like the NURO or, we'll get to a couple of good ones coming up very shortly from right now. CCIV, we were talking about heading into this meeting. So that one I'll jump to in a moment. Let's just kind of skim down the gainers list though. Otherwise, here's the warrants for CCIV, but that's going to be way too untradeable, I'd say. NVFY, cheapy, ended up making a run going into the afternoon, but completely dumped off from that point. JFU, another cheapie. We are familiar with this stock. Just kind of a spotty chart. It's at the highs like that, but not much activity really, though. ENG, you could say the same thing. I mean, listen, I know there is way more stocks that are up than what we're looking at here. I mean, the SPY's the high of the day. The number 50% gainer is still up more than 10%. So let me just kind of expand this quickly here. I'll really quickly just go myself. NCLH is up 8.5% at the highs. So I would have gotten to the side list stocks anyway. The cruise lines, the airlines, the gaming casino stocks as well. They weren't dropping with the market going into this meeting yesterday, or at least not moving nearly as well as they are on the way up today. So NCLH I definitely like. I'll put it on our list for right now, the main list. And Gevo, a stock we're familiar with, ended up making a huge run going back into last year, ended up popping and dropping from that point. It's up. I don't mind slipping this on the main list for the meantime, at least a stock that we're familiar with, showing some buying coming in over the last few minutes as well, this Gevo stock. Let's see, any other name stocks here that we've traded in the past, or just even over the last week or two? Tupperware? Nah, not much going on there. All right, well, hop over to the losers list, folks. Trust me, I know that there's more that's up. So if there's anything that's moving with the market, anything that's up more than 5%, then type it in the chat board. Let me know. All right, actually, how about this? Before I hop over to the losers list, I'll check out the chat board because latest says the I think that was the NURO, right? NURO. Yep, it reopened. Wow, this thing is like freaking strong. Ended up reopening off the halt here from 972. It's almost impossible to catch this stock. It ended up reopening up 5 minutes later, and then just within seconds got halted. Holy smokes. This stock is trading so much volume right now. And I mean, across the whole day, 223 million shares total. That's a lot. We've seen stocks trade even more, but just over the last minute to see as much prints come in just a minute time. Oh man, it'll be really interesting to see where this trade's heading into the close. This reminds me, for any of our longtime students inside Cyber Group, this reminds me of the shipping stocks back a number of years ago. Dries and Tops and DCIX, I think it was. I say that because those stocks were split over and over and over across the years. This NURO stock, I will put my life on it, was never once valued at $470,000. That's like a glitch on TradeStation. They show that's shown when a stock is split over and over and over and over, reverse split that is. So it's just to say, for all the times this stock was split, the good news that came out certainly led to a short squeeze, and that's why this stock is already up 248%. But this type of halt keeps me pretty interested to see a lot more heading into the next hour and 15 minutes. All right. Cool. So this was already on our list, but we'll see if this could provide at least an opportunity for us to jump in if you're not in already, because that really wasn't a good opportunity to jump in. ARDX, just hopping over to the loser side right now. This stock's down 73%. I forgot the news on it, but obviously not good in relation to a pharmaceutical. Probably got rejected on FDA application, but nonetheless, this stock actually still is shortable. That was not my intent heading into the morning. I did not short this stock at all today. I'm just saying that not every stock below 5 is going to be impossible to borrow. This stock actually could have had a nice little short from pre-market trading into the open. Now at this point, I don't know if you can notice it without me saying it, I'm in this trade. I've been in this trade from the mid to late morning, or wherever 180-ish is. I'm in from 186 right now, average price. When it dipped here, it broke a trend line off of the highs, and I ended up jumping in right around here, and it was on 3,000 shares. I took 2,000 of those shares out earlier when it was around 202. I still have 1,000 left. So I don't know. I'm not going to put this on our list just because I'm in it. I would love to see this already continue to push up. And then at that point, I'd hope to see a lot more action for you folks to join in on. So unless if you're already in this stock with me, I wouldn't really be as keen to follow it for the next hour and a half. I'm more hopeful than anything on that one, but I have a decent entry, so I'm going to let it ride. The SWI stock, there was some news that came out in relation to them. Basically, one of their subsidiaries is going public in a spinoff, I think. So I guess there was a huge drop-off gap down in pre-market for this SWI. It's not doing anything, though, right now either. It's like very similar to the ARDX in that regard. All right, what's this trade? PLL, Piedmont Lithium. It's a lithium-based stock. That's interesting because I thought we traded a couple of lithium-based stocks over the last like month and a half. I know F-Cell and Plug are more the hydrogen battery type stocks. Man, I forgot off the top of my head. There is another lithium stock we ended up trading. You could just see the big jump even dating back to late September, early October. But more so, we ended up following those lithium stocks. I forgot, it was like back in the beginning of 2021. Man, this thing's taking a huge hit right now. Maybe the other one I will find. Who knows? I don't know if it's lithium altogether, the stocks, affiliated with that, or just this company. But if I find it, I'll let you know. This stock's just too expensive. The spread's too big. It's at the lows. I love seeing that, but let's see what else we got. I'll tell you that other stock. I'm trying to find it here on the loser's side. I don't think it's there. Probably just company specific news, but we'll see. Man, otherwise, really bunch of stocks that are just simply hard to borrow. And unless if they're down a lot more, kind of like that ARDX, then I'll be honest, I'm not going to be too interested in following them. There's not going to be nearly as much opportunity on the loser side as there normally is on the gainer side at this time of the day. All right, so I'll toss it to you folks here in the chat board from Scott saying Carve moving up near the high of the day, but the spread's too big on this. Familiar name, so I appreciate that. And I personally saw this earlier. It was more, I think it had to have been here. I don't know. Maybe it was even earlier here. I didn't even call it out. I just looked at it and I said, we've traded the stock in the past, but if it has next to no volume on the book, it makes it a lot more difficult to read the order book. So what's the point in trading a stock that you don't know how to read, or at least it's much more difficult to read, right? So that's all. If it had a lot more volume behind it, I'd be a little bit more interested. From Skip, he's asking about Blink, BLNK. Is that the highs? A little bit more volume on the book compared to that last one. You know what? We'll check out the other EV stocks, Skip. How about this? Like NEO and Lee, and I don't think XBEV as much, but I mean, it's interesting. It's at the highs. It's up 3.5%. I'll see if there's even better right now. Not a bad call, though. It's just at the highs, which I do like. Michael's saying BB also at the highs of the day. This one has a little bit more volume on the book. It did break higher just now. I did call this out earlier myself, and I thought AMC would be going up with it. Now it finally is. I mean, it was before, but they weren't directly trading as much as they are right now. BB broke a new high already, but at least AMC is right alongside it. So I'll put both of them on our main list. I don't mind. BB and AMC, the Reddit stocks. From Juan inside Cybergroup asking about QFIN. Nah, this thing's not doing much right now. I don't know if you're looking at that as like a swing trade or investment rather than a day trade, but I don't know. Not really a whole lot going on there. It looks like it held support from 27.50. If you're in already and are up, great. But right now, I don't really see a whole lot here for the next hour and 15 minutes. All right. We have a question from one of our trial members, Al, or Alphonse, I should say. I know that you're set specifically to speak with Fausto tomorrow morning, Alphonse. You're asking about the halts, right? And they're trading at very high volume. And is there a way to know beforehand? So that's something that Fausto, I'm sure, could answer on your call with him tomorrow. And we talk all about that within our trading curriculum. It's hard to provide a very efficient, extensive answer rather in a 1 minute time. From Franny asking about that CCIV stock that I said I guess I'd get back to. Oh, you know what? I didn't even look at the symbol. I saw the warrants on the gainer side for Churchill CCIV, and we were watching that and calling it out earlier. Looks like it cooled off quite a bit, ended up making a nice run to begin the afternoon. So I'll put it on our list, in hopes of it making another pop, another afternoon run. I like the recent volume and volatility, but volume definitely died off. So like I said before with one of the others, it wouldn't shock me if it continues to die off for this itself too. All right. Ashen joining us again from Istanbul. Welcome back. Oh no, this is Mehmet. Appreciated your video on CRTD. I made a scalp from 370 to 410 yesterday. Excellent. Ended up making a late run. Yeah, a little squeeze up, and it ended up making like a spike of volume earlier going into the afternoon. I don't know if that's unusual options activity or what, but I'm happy that you made money on it. Right now, though, it's not really doing as much for this afternoon, but welcome on back, and I hope that you follow us here going forward. All right, from Mitch. Welcome back, Mitch. He's a regular as well, asking about the skills trade. SKLZ, nice pop. Not up that famous 5% that I asked for, but either way, right? I mean, nice pop. I don't know if news just came out. I feel like there is not news, because if there was, we would have seen this make a much bigger move. But spreads are good. Familiar stock. I don't mind it. We'll put this on our list. Here's the thing, though, folks. I'm going to call it right now. I'll do a quick scan on Benzinga Pro, but we'll wrap up from here, because with the markets at the highs right now, my guess is that there's going to be a lot of stocks that look pretty good. American Airlines. How about a pot stock like ACB? How about another pot stock like TLRY? All of these stocks are at the highs of the day right now. So trust me, I can keep going for another 30 minutes and we'll make a watch list of 50 stocks, right? That doesn't always help. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to call the list right now. I'll look at the stocks. Otherwise, I guess I kept on the side, like Space. That one I think I'll put on the list, and I said I was more likely to at the end. That one still is pretty volatile either way. NRBO, not nearly as much. We're going to scrap this. And Endo is just a little slow. It's tradable stock, but a little slow. I feel like the volume died off on this from the earlier parts of the day. So Space will add, but otherwise, folks, if there's a stock that looks good in your opinion that you made a lot of money on from this past week, and if it's not on this special watch list, that doesn't mean that you can't trade it. I mean, hey, if there's a stock that you do very well on, and if it provides a real opportunity to make money and follow it further, then start and stick with that. But for most of us, though, otherwise, if you're a new student joining CTU or inexperienced trader, start and stick with this list. You'll find a couple of good trades right out the gate. And then from that point, if you don't, then we'll work together as a team here inside our live trading room and see if we can catch any other stocks that we could scan for. All right. For all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, we got a bunch of us on YouTube today. I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification icon right on our YouTube stream. That being youtube.com/cybertradingu. And like I'd said right from before, if you've yet to join our live trading room Monday to Friday, we are open. So come join us. Go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started on a small trial. All right, for all of us there right now, I know that Rich will be on the mic very shortly. I got to jump onto a quick call with one of our students. I'll be back on, though, later on this afternoon, right around 3:30 to wrap things up for you. Take care.